Okay, so we have Psychic Medium Judy here today. And one of the questions that some people have, I know that I have this, is, for instance, if I come in to do a reading with you, and specifically a medium reading with you, and I've got my uncle and my father already on the other side. So I come to you and we sit down in a room, just you and I say, well, okay, I want to talk to Dad. What is it that you do specifically that would bring that about, if you could? Or are there situations where it could or it could not happen, first of all?
Actually, I will answer that differently today than I would have a week ago. Because, in fact, the girl's parents were Jehovah Witnesses. And I could tell he was there, the father had died. And I could feel him, but he wouldn't show himself to me. I could feel his presence, I knew he was there, and I knew he had passed away. But he wouldn't give me any information.
That's interesting.
It was very interesting.
Do you figure it's because of his time here on Earth as a Jehovah Witness that might have not appealed to him? Or was it because he'd been teaching it so much himself that for him to reveal himself that way might sort of put a different slant on the Jehovah Witnesses? Or what do you think? Why do you think? I know you possibly can't know because he didn't really reveal himself to you, but what do you think that might be?
Well, it was funny because I told my client that I could feel his presence, but he was refusing to come and talk to me, and he was refusing to really let me see him too much. And she says, yeah, because he didn't believe in this at all. So even if he found out if it was real, he was stubborn enough that he would be hiding. And that's how I described it. It felt like he was hiding from me. But if I was going to answer the question prior to having that experience, I would have said that I feel them. I feel their presence first. I get chills. And then when I close my eyes, they show me pictures. And the pictures are always relevant to them. They usually reveal to me how they died. I had one that died straining on the toilet. Had an aneurysm, and I actually saw that. Blew his wife away. I can't make up that stuff, right?
It's not something you want to necessarily see either.
I said that. I didn't really want to see that. Thank you very much.
That's right.
But they do kind of reveal themselves to you that way. What I have found is they nearly always give you something specific that no one could know except the person receiving the message and then themselves.
We were talking a couple of days ago about when you're in a situation like this, and it can be quite draining on you.
Yes.
Especially if you have back-to-back people that you're seeing, which is very typical for you. You can be up to 8 to 10 hours a day at an hour a pop, and it's just one right after another without a break.
Right.
And to say the least, they must be emotional experiences. And so do you find that this is very drawing on you? Does it tax you in any way?
Most of the time I find it empowering because I see the change in the person. I see my customer get a light in their eyes. They feel better. I teach them so much as well. It's not just, I'm not just a psychic, and so I do a lot of work with them. So for me, it's very empowering. But there are times where it can drain you. It can drain you because for some reason you're emotionally involved in that particular person. You've gone right into them, and there's been an emotional bonding, and it can drain you. Yes.
And then, of course, like you say, from where you have this empowerment, it must be somewhat, well, quite amazing for the client to be able to say things to somebody they've been wanting to say and they didn't get a chance to do it. Maybe there were some unresolved issues, and now they can deal with it. It must be, well, shocking to say the least. I mean, unless they've been through it before and they're already used to it. But a first time for these people must be somewhat bizarre, if not just outright jaw-dropping wild for them to be able to speak to somebody who's passed over.
Jaw-dropping is a very good way of saying it. I see people's eyes get 3 times the size in a very short period of time because it is so freeing for them.
And it's
just freeing. There's no other word for it. To know that the people you love are still around is very freeing. And to know you can talk to them and they can hear you, and they actually will answer.
And so obviously there's something that occurs, because even if someone comes in and they're skeptical, say, yeah, right, but then there's something that happens within them that when you say the light goes on in their eyes, or you have this jaw-dropping moment, there must be a recognition of something that was said or conveyed to them that really opened their eyes to believing that they were talking with mom or pop or an uncle or whoever. And so this I mean, I suppose I'm just making a comment, because for me, and I suppose that's what you're saying, is that there is something that proves to these people that they are talking to whoever it is that they're looking to talk to.
Absolutely, and spirit is marvelous. One that stands out in my mind, her husband had died 4 days before, and he was only 30, and he had a massive heart attack and died. And I told her what I saw, that he was around, and how can I believe that? And I'm sitting there, and he's showing me this giant potato head. Well, nobody would ever think of, why is he showing me a giant potato head? And I kept not saying it, and talked to her and tried to settle her down. And then I said, look, he's showing me a giant potato head, and I'm confused. And then she burst into tears, because he had built them a giant potato head for the boys to play with in their basement.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Like a Mr. Potato Head cut where they can stick the ears and nose and stuff on. Wow.
And I mean, nobody could guess at something like that. Nobody would know that. You know, it's just, I saw it. And I tried not to say it, and he wouldn't let me. He was like, say it.
And so, generally speaking, when these people are finished with the reading, they're coming out very satisfied and very happy. And do they come back for more communication, or they generally have enough with one? Or how does that, in your experience?
In my experience, in my practice, people come in the first time. Generally, there's some mediumship that they want, or maybe they're not even looking for that. It just comes up. It's about how they want their lives to look, and then I go through a process of teaching them how to design their life and how to make their life a better place. And they usually come back 4 times, in a short period of time, and then after that they come in for follow-ups.
And so sometimes people might be coming for something, a reading, and maybe what they're expecting is just, does this guy love me, or am I going to get married, or what's going to kind of happen in the future here? And then all of a sudden, this voice from the other side may come in. So they're not coming in specifically for a medium reading, but they get one.
Exactly.
Okay, and so that's kind of how it is that you operate. You don't sort of say, well, you're coming here, let me do a medium reading. We have an appointment at 4 o'clock for a medium reading. You're coming down, we'll kind of suss out what it is that you're looking for, and then we'll just go from there, because you have other avenues of bringing out the answers for them. And it could be tarot card, or it could be whatever all else that you have. Just
crystal ball, just touch, reading their palms, just listening to spirit. Spirit will tell me what they need to know. I usually ask a customer, what is it that you want from your reading? Because some people don't want mediumship. It just spooks them. And if they tell me, no, I don't want to talk to anybody on the other side, then I don't. Even if they're there, I make it messages, but I don't tell them why.
Do you sometimes get an urgency from the other side? Maybe there's something that they want to say, and there's the person right there, and maybe, like you said, that person doesn't want to talk to anybody on the other side, but this person on the other side is being urgent about talking to them. Do you find that from time to time?
Very rarely, but there has been occasions that's occurred, but it's not uncommon. Usually, if the person is there, and I'm talking about if the spirit is there, then that person that's coming in to see them is usually wanting to talk to them as well. So usually when people don't want to talk to spirit, the spirits stay away. There's like a permission thing that goes on. Even I was taught at a very young age when I had this gift that you don't intrude on people. So if
you mean you or the spirits, or both?
Me.
You, okay.
Me, with this gift, being able to go into people's space however this is that it works, which I don't think anybody can actually say. Well, the definition is, I don't think we can actually say that. Am I mind reading? Am I seeing things from the other side? I don't think anybody can actually prove it, but something extraordinary is going on. And I was told from a very young age that you don't intrude. Unless somebody has given you permission to use your gift with them, you don't do it. You don't do it to your friends, you don't do it to family, you don't do it. So I'm very careful with that. But when they come to me for a reading, there's an implied permission, is there not? They want to be